It's scripted. We got stuff to do. There's no time for random stuff.
That makes sense.
And to a degree, well, I think it's possible to use it, and I think it could be good, especially if you're stuck and you need inspiration of some kind. Then embracing ideas you normally wouldn't embrace that you randomly generate is a good way to kind of knock ideas loose and get going. Gosh, I forgot where I was going with that. But by the time I'm actually doing it, though, yeah, things are pretty tight. I don't have time for that. Art is all about separating signal from noise. That's what art is. And so the more noise you throw into your own stuff, the more you're kind of working against yourself. So I try and be very focused and purposeful with everything I'm doing in the books.
Fair enough. Quick yes or no question.
Okay.
Are there cats in Spire Olympia?
In what?
Cats in Spire Olympia.
Oh, obviously, yes. Sweet. Yeah, there's like different breeds of cats in each spire, so they can look different and be cool. But they're very separated ecosystems, right? And when you have the same animal in separated ecosystems, it goes in different directions. So there's cats elsewhere. They're like other breeds, so we get everybody's favorites.
Hey Jim, Dresden Files has been around for 20 years now. In that time, they've been
20 years April 1st next year, but yeah.
True. In that time, they've been theory crafted to death. Is there any Easter egg or secret plot point that has been totally missed?
I don't know. How do I know the answer? I don't track everything. I don't wish I could. I don't track everything, and I'm happy that way. I don't really follow that too much. I'm busy making it. I don't have time to look around and see what everybody else is doing around it.
Fair enough.
But I'm sorry. I wish I had a better answer. But even if the answer was no, this is the right answer to give you. Nah, you've all figured it out. Everything's done. The rest of this is just pro forma. Might as well go home.
More of separating the signal from noise, right?
Generally speaking, from what I can tell, somebody has figured out every part of the big picture. Nobody's figured out a significant part of the big picture, but somebody's picked up almost everything. It's just a matter of fact whether you put it together the right way or not. Hey!
Greetings, Jim. I know you're super busy with the Cinder Spires and the Dresden Files, but is there any chance you'll pick up or do a continuation of the Codex Alaria?
Codex Alaria is a cool world. I might go back to it one day. I've got a couple of points I could go back. The first idea was to go back about 150 years in the future and see kind of the fallout of the first series and how it changed the world and what's different there. I've got 3 ideas for it. That's the first one. The second one is to do the first class of the new Cursor Academy, which features like that Aaron is now the teacher. The Crow-begotten Batman is now the teacher of all the new spies, and we have like the first Kanem Cursor and the first Marat Cursor and so on. And that would be fun. And then the other one I could do is I already wrote the humans and the Zerg, so I could do the Protoss and have them come in. Look, man, I'm a nerd. I can't escape it. Hi.
Hey. Okay, 2-part question. First, what kind of Scooby snacks does Brew like?
What kind of Scooby snacks does Brew like? I get him, the bark boxes? They make one specific to pit bulls with super tough toys called a bully box, and it comes with lots of snacks. But mostly the snack he likes most is bacon. I have bacon for breakfast every morning, and he's my buddy. We start off the day with him just like laying his head on my shoulder and looking over my shoulder at my plate, so that's kind of how he do.
Okay, second question. Are Selkies and owlbears existing in the Dresden Files?
Selkies and owlbears? In the Dresden Files, yeah, because if you've got access to the Never Never, you've got essentially range to whatever you can imagine. So yeah, you could go to the Never Never and find Harry could go to the Never Never and find an owlbear and bring it back and go, aha! Mad wizard, right there! Yeah. Who's got 2 thumbs and just created an owlbear?
Now, didn't you guys think you just read that because of the way you said it?
Yeah. So in the Dresden verse, you've got a wide variety of characters and side characters and sidekicks and backup characters. So aside from Harry Dresden, which character is your favorite to write, and which is your least favorite to write?
Least favorite to write. Start with that because that one's easier. Charity's very difficult to write for me. I don't know if she's my least favorite, but she's difficult because she's tough for me to understand. We think who else? As far as least favorites go, I mean, if I didn't like them, I wouldn't write them. But as far as favorite character other than Harry, it varies from day to day. Depends what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm feeling particularly puerile and in need of inspiring chaos, it's Bob. If I need to get things done, it's Mark Hone or Mab. One of those characters. I love writing Mab though, because because in many ways she's kind of a mystery to me. So a lot of things I find out about Mab I don't find out until I've written them, and then I go, wow, that's deep. and I should tell the author something. You wrote that. That's confusing. Like that. Hey, man.
As you've obviously gone through and read a lot of the Dresden fan everything on the internet, has there ever been something that you've found on there that you hadn't quite thought of yourself or thought, hey, that was a really good idea, and incorporated it into the story?
Probably. I can't think of anything specific because once the book is written down and done, it's out of my head and gone. I've got the next one to think about. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's been from any of the online discussions, but I think but lots of times from talking to friends about it. I've done stuff like driving along in the car on a road trip and just kind of nobody said anything for 45 minutes, and suddenly I go, Justine's pregnant, and then I kind of get this. Yeah, that's nice, Jim. I do this stuff all the time. I start talking in the middle of a conversation that I've been having with myself with somebody else as though they heard the conversation. So you have to speak. I'm sorry, Kitty. Where'd you go? But I'm sorry. Stuff like that happens. Oh, there she is. Okay. But yeah, just chatting about stuff. It's normally not. It's normally not online discussion because by the time I'm going to online discussion, I'm not really I'm not really in a creative mindset. I'm in famous guy. I'm talking to people mindset because I have to pretend to be somebody else to be able to talk to people. The rest of the time, I'm just sort of at home. Honestly, this weekend, if I could have just stayed on the couch with the dog all weekend, that would have been amazing. But also coming here is fun too. But in my heart of hearts, that's what heaven looks like: is a comfortable couch and a really good book and a dog and just waiting on Kitty to get home from work. That is a wonderful time. I'm a boring person. What? Oh yeah, Parks and Rec, obviously. I think I've watched all the way through Park and Rec like 11 times now. I think we're like 11 to watch. Yeah. That's our stress TV show. When there's stress or depression, Park and Rec goes on because it's hard to be stressed or depressed with Park and Rec. So, hey man.
Hello again. I have a question. Murphy's my favorite character, and finding out that she has a large family of cops and ex-husbands and that field.
Yeah, big Irish cop families in Chicago. Real weird.
So I was just curious about if we're ever going to see them again, or what their opinion is on her new employment situation.
Oh well, insider. Okay, I can talk about this because it's not really in the books, and I doubt it's gonna come out anywhere anytime soon. So I'll just go ahead and tell you. But when she retired, it was under a cloud. It was under a big cloud, and that had to give her entire family pause. And so it would have that sort of thing tends to enhance and exaggerate the existing relationships to kind of the next level of whatever that relationship is. So if you just sort of annoyed with somebody, then you just don't like them anymore after they've done something like that. Or if you like somebody and you decide you're going to keep liking them when they're under a cloud like that, you like them a lot. They're your brother, like that. That's the kind of thing that happens. So she's become a big, not exactly a pariah, but a point of contention in her own family. So she's been avoiding them a lot. Because people get in fights when she's there. They also get in fights when she's not there because they're free to talk about her. It's an Irish Catholic family. There's all kinds of conflicting things going on there. Sure. Hey, man.
Hi, Jim. All right, so with the licensing quagmire no longer being such a tepid pit of despair, who would you picture as your ideal dream cast for a feature set of films? For Dresden.
Ooh, ideal dream cast.
Ideal
That's
dream
different.
cast.
That's different. Let's see. We'll get Starbuck to play Murphy.
Yeah.
Why not? It should be great. And then my second choice is Kristen, not Kristen Bell.
Jenna?
No, the one from Pitch Perfect. That Kristen.
Jenna?
No, now I'm thinking it's not Kristen Chenoweth. That's somebody else. Who am I thinking of? Anna Kendrick. Thank you. Anna Kendrick is my second pick for Murphy because I would just write the snarkiest lines for her constantly. She would just be doing nothing but flaying Harry's ego left and right. That would be what she was doing. For Dresden, I don't know. We might have to find a new guy for Dresden. I can't think of anybody. And I can't go get young Bruce Campbell, so. For Thomas, we'll go ahead and let Loki do that one. You know, we'll give him a better deal than Disney, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, the funny part is I've been playing the casting game for real with professional people. And so there's all there's all these considerations in Hollywood that go beyond just, you know, how do they act and what do they look like? You know, it's all, well, which studio do they work for and how long are they contracted and do they get along with this person and that? And I mean, it's a very intricate network. There's a reason why they have like people who specialize in casting because it's such a minefield. But I kept listing people that I would want for it, and it sounded like Lord Jerkface that Arya stabbed his eyes out in Game of Thrones. Too old, you know, like that. But I guess we'll have to see what happens. But hey,
In the Cinder Spires, once the cats give a person a name, will they ever change it if it becomes really inappropriate, like Tiny is?
oh yeah, absolutely they will. Just like the Native American, if you do something to distinguish yourself that is worthy of a name, whether it is something bold and great or something really boneheaded, you get the name. That's the way that works. You get named after the things that you've done and the choices you've made. And it's the same with the cats. You know, they'll eventually, if he acts like a jerk, they'll roll his eyes and give him some stupid name. I mean, he'll still be an honorary cat, but they'll just be snide to him. You know? Hello.
Hi. I just wanted to first of all say that your book series, The Dresden Files, is my favorite.
Thank you very much.
It surpassed Harry Potter so far beyond. I didn't think that was possible.
Also, thank you very much. That makes me feel good as I sit here in my Slytherin tank top.
So my question is, I did see some sort of tweet from you saying there was a possibility of a series coming up, a television adaptation of The Dresden Files.
Yes.
Another one?
Is there any sort of things that you have going on to make sure that it doesn't get Season 8 Game of Thrones or
No, absolutely nothing. I mean, the best you can do is to say, listen, there's somebody that I know in Hollywood that has the appropriate skills and education to be doing this job, and also happens to be somebody who's been a beta reader for me for a long time, and I want them on, and they're like, okay, well, that's a reasonable thing to think. And I want to be an executive producer myself. I want to have access to the writer's room, and they say, okay, yeah, that's good, and that's about as far as I can go. I don't have the money to make even one episode of TV happen. I couldn't do a feature-length, I couldn't really do a full Hollywood feature-length trailer if I spent all the money I'd ever earned. That's big stuff. You gotta have some serious juice behind you to get those things done. But I'm going to do everything I can, and that's going to be amounting to showing up and doing everything I can to make sure that the writing is solid, and then showing up and just trying to be the guy that helps, think of ways around problems. Hopefully I can do that in a useful fashion. That would be great.
I just want to thank you for that because I really love this series.
Oh, thank you very much. Hello.
Hi. I love your hair. It looks really cool.
Thank you.
I was just wondering.
I married into the fake court, so
That's
that's a side
what I was going to ask. Okay.
Oh.
So it was marriage. It wasn't like you didn't swear fealty to Matt or something.
No, I got married. No, I don't want to talk about any deals Kitty may or may not have with very supernatural entities. That's family business. I'm not gonna bring that out with all y'all. But I dyed it for the wedding, and I thought I like blue, and that was about my thought process. So here it is.
the Spanish flu a cover explanation or just an actual side effect of the necromancy being done when fighting Kemler?
Oh, you're clever, aren't you? I like you. That's my answer.
This question is from one of my friends who couldn't make it to DragonCon this year.
Okay.
Does the White Court have any way to compensate or make exceptions for wizards or any magic user with special needs?
What do you mean?
Either they can't physically move their bodies or...
I mean, if a White Court vampire really wants to get to you, they just got to get you alone for a bit and be able to touch you. I mean, that's all it really amounts to. But I mean, there's this whole issue with White Court vampires and wizards, but we haven't gotten to that. Oh, it's like heroin.
Are there characters you've written for the Dresden Files that didn't make it into the books? And if so, who were they and why'd you axe them?
There's only one character I wrote for the Dresden Files that didn't make it into the books, and he made it in, but only sort of in the background. In Grave Peril, Harry and Carter LaChase had this running thing where LaChase kept jumping him in the Blue Beetle, and then various bits of Volkswagen architecture that were specific to only Volkswagens kept saving Harry's life. But when my editor read it, she said it makes the book too long. You got to cut it. That was the book where the editor said, "Okay, I love this book. It's got this story and this story and this story, and I want you to expand on all 4 of these storylines." I'm like, "Great." She says, "And cut it by 50 pages." I'm like, "So make it longer and shorter." And she goes, "Yes, and hurry." That's the writing business, you know.
Were there any, throughout the Dresden Files series, were there any plot points that either / you wrote / it made into the book that you personally wish you didn't have to write it that way but knew that it was necessary for the story?
No, I mean, I guess I've never wished that I didn't have to do it that way for the sake of the story. I mean, it's the story. Whatever needs to get done, gets done. You know, whoever needs to die, dies for the story. That sounds psycho, but it's absolutely true. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much of a problem with that. The great thing about writing is, it's your world. You get to do whatever you want. It's kind of awesome. I don't understand why more people aren't doing it. It's amazing. Hey, man.
Hey there. So Nate Bovine, he needs to cover his ears real quick. He's in my Fate Accelerated group. I don't want to give away plot points for our campaign.
Okay.
So hypothetically speaking, what effect would climate change have on the power dynamics of the summer and winter courts?
Well, it's going to depend. It's going to depend on how much of it is due to choice. Free will and human choice has an awful lot of power in the Dresden Files universe and affects things very, 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 very drastically. So, how much of it is? How much of it isn't? You know, these are huge questions, and we're just people, and not one of us lives long enough probably to get a really good answer, because it would probably take, you know, I would think a couple thousand years of observation of the Earth might give you a good basic grasp of how it works, but it's hard to say. It wouldn't be it's warmer so summer's stronger, it's colder so winter's stronger. Summer court and winter court are much more closely tied to human emotions on the planet. The winter court's a lot better because this planet's got a lot more bad stuff on it than good stuff. Generally speaking, there's an awful lot of conflict. There's an awful lot of just struggling to survive, and that's all winter court stuff right there, baby. When you're creating art, when you're creating beauty, when you're creating culture, that feeds into the summer court. But they're there for people, so they're more attached to people than they are to the natural world.
So theoretically, if a winter court member were to kick off like a nuclear winter, could that shift things?
Well, that would get real winter real quick, because suddenly life would be about nothing but survival and keeping your kids alive, and that's very much a winter court sort of situation. Summer is when you have a little bit more time to do other things.
Thank you.
Certainly.
And this will be our last question right here.
Will you have merchandise at your author signing later?
I will not have merchandise at my author signing later, although I will be, when I do an author signing I will be doing an author signing at Badali Jewelry. Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great last question to close on, Dan. Thank you.
Really, that was a great.
Are you a plant? Did I plant you there?
This is a great segue because he looked all these up and I wrote them down. Yeah. He has a signing immediately following this session right here.
Yeah, right after
at
here, I'll be signing for the
5:30.
con in the autograph area.
And so that one's in the app because it's the official Dragon Con signing.
Yep.
Also tomorrow on Saturday at 2:30 at Badali Jewelry and then 5:30 at Bard's Tower.
Bard's Tower will have a bunch of my books for sale. Medali might have some books, but they'll have a lot of the cool like Pinnacle jewelry and stuff like that they made off the series.
Oh, cool, okay. Oh, well.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And I guess you could watch from afar, but that's about it, right? And then Sunday at 11:30 a.m.
Sunday at 11:30 I'll be at Bard's Tower, and I'll be
Oh,
at Bard's Tower tomorrow at 5:30.
Okay, so that was also Bard's Tower.
Yeah,
And something.
that's in the dealer's room. Just head straight back. It's on the right at the very back, and I'll be there. They've got lots of big, towers with pictures of authors on them, so you can find me.
What floor?
The first floor of the dealer's room. The first level of the dealer's room is when you go up the escalator and that there. Yeah.
So let's give Jim a round of applause. And thanks very much to all of you. We do need for this room to be cleared immediately, not to mention